Yikes.
Not entirely. I'm missing short shorts and loafers.
What is that?
Boot.
That's what I'm saying. You know, if I've never really seen them rock that like during that song, I'm sure somebody had to.
I feel like he did.
That would
That
be
was an underrated soundtrack.
facts.
Very underrated soundtrack.
I feel like if they pulled up blasting that, then they would win the day. I would give them the day.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if they were like really hitting it, you know, fucking seizure shaking and doing the man. Yeah, they'd get it for the day.
I wonder why nobody's like, at least to my knowledge, I haven't been to any cons as of late, but when people do some sort of cosplay, they typically pick a character of some sort, most likely a fictional character, somebody that is a cartoon, probably of the anime persuasion of some sort, or superhero. But nobody, I don't really see people cosplay like real people. Like nobody does Big Boy and Andre cosplay at these type of conventions. It would be interesting to see people cosplay other human beings as opposed to impersonate them.
That's a good point. I think people like the best you get is maybe when people do like characters off a show, which I guess are technically by real people. But yeah, I don't think people like unless you did like a costume party, like when people do like those like early, I don't know, early 2000s costume party or early 90s costume party.
Theme parties.
Yeah.
Get your white tees and you such and such is out because this is a 2000s party and all that other stuff.
Pretty much. I thought about that the other day, like in the sense of like I just believe everybody and their mother like listens to all things good news and they just don't tell us about it and they don't give us credit.
Fair enough.
Because I saw like this it was this I don't know, one of these like R&B pages and they were just like going through the eras and they just like did this whole New Jack Swing shit and I was like, oh, you guys can call Eric. You guys are dickheads, but it's cool.
Yeah, I saw somebody else do that after Eric did his. Now I didn't really pay attention to who posted it, but I saw Eric post.
Serious. I was like, these niggas robbing us.
Oh, absolutely.
In my mind, it's always my friend. I was like, wow, bro, they really didn't give bro his credit.
No.
But I thought about that and I was like, wow. I had like given that like we had talked about that in college and then we just all got like lit one day and then never pursued the idea. But that would be a lit party. Like if niggas do like an actual
New Jack Swing party. I mean, people do the 80s, which is pretty much the same. Late 80s, early 90s is the same. But people don't really, they do the stereotypical stuff. The Run DMC, LL Cool J type outfits. They don't really do Nino Brown or Heavy D and the Boys Club attire.
If you threw a party today and you walk in and it looked like that like initial scene like in New Jack City where it was just like the whole party was lit. Yeah, that's a party. That's a party for your ass.
It should look like the club scene out of Strictly Business when Halle Berry's in there at work dancing and all that.
Yes. Somebody do that.
Or a house party, like the first house party. It should look like the first house party.
I had an idea like a while ago about that, and I don't have the money to put it together, and I'm not going to say it on it because I still to this day think it's a viable idea that nobody has touched.
That's fair.
So
we can discuss that off air when we revamp.
I'm dead, and
we unearth the other versions of us that decide to come back out to play. We can have that be an aspect of that in some capacity.
Dead ass, because in my mind, like when I tell it to you, it's a good idea.
Yes, yes. Aside from that, sir, in the last 7 days, how's your week been since we last aired this rendition of our show?
It's been pretty good. My mom and sister back in town. That's always lit. Went to therapy this week. That was lit. And Sandman is out. I just finished it last night because I was just like had time at work, and the kids were like chilling. So I was like, oh my god, let me introduce you guys to this amazing shit, Sandman. And then it got really graphic, and I was like, I'll watch this later. But
oh, I'm sorry. You're here for abuse. My bad. I probably shouldn't have turned this on for you.
Yeah, like it's cool at the start, and then like as I was going, I was like, oh, the collector convention. We can't watch this. We got to cut this off.
Like, no, man, what you doing? Like,
I appreciate that though. And it's like, oh, this is really fun. I'm like, you got to watch it on your own time. You who all are like almost grown, like you're 17, you can watch it, but like, y'all, you can't. But Sandman is out again, guys. I know I've been talking about this for 2 weeks, but it's dope.
On what streaming platform did you partake?
Netflix, man. Netflix has found a way to go, and I feel like Netflix is trying to like there's been like mad Netflix critiques because other
Mhm.
platforms are doing or whatever. So I feel like they just said, "Hey Neil, just do whatever." Like Neil Gaiman, just go ahead and just ball out because it's as like it takes obviously a different turn from some of the books, but it's just as like, oh, we're doing like outlandishly fantasy stuff. So and there's a lot of like black people in it.
I can hit that. I
Yeah,
watched. Speaking of Netflix, I watched Day Shift with Jamie Foxx.
I'll watch that too.
It's not bad.
Yeah, I wasn't like I was. Who was I talking to? I think I was talking to my uncle a little bit, and he joked about it being like campy or corny, but in certain spots, and I was like, I feel like it's supposed to. Like Snoop's gonna give us a Snoop part where it's just like completely breaks character, and
Absolutely.
he's like, "I want you guys to know I'm still me." And I was like, I look forward to Snoop doing that. If I saw a Snoop film where he was like he could be doing his best dramatic Denzel performance, I want him to give me one scene of just Snoopness.
Yes.
Otherwise, I would feel robbed. Still
Absolutely.
give him his like whatever Oscar, but I thought that wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Again, I'm
I
here
think
for
it was
like
pretty decent. I think it had to be somewhat hokey in certain areas because of the mixture of white people that are in the movie. Like the aspect of white that they have in the movie, it has to
yeah,
blend with Jamie. But one thing that, like, as I was watching it, I was like, I appreciate the fact. Now, granted, Jamie Foxx is one of my most favorite artists of all time. Nobody is as multi talented as he is. He can do a stand up show, a concert.
no, he's kind of
He
like
can do literally any and everything. Just about all this nigga need to do is learn how to do some magic tricks, and he's pretty much got everything covered.
yeah, he's in a wild like goat status of entertainer.
Absolutely, and he doesn't get the flowers he deserves. But I was watching the movie, and I was like, I appreciate how he keeps everything as black as possible. Like from start to finish throughout his entire career, he's always incorporated aspects of blackness into his characters, into his movies. And he's done that predominantly with B-list movies. He's
Hmm.
had a moment or spurts where he's done A-list movies because he has A-list talent, but he just enjoys making B-list movies and makes them good and still incorporates some aspect of blackness in every movie. He may be dealing with white folk, he may get a white lady in every movie here and there, but for the most part, he's going to keep it as black as he can within the confines of the script.
I can appreciate that. Even like I know there's been like you just said like online they talk about like him who he might be sleeping with in his personal time, but I like that on screen he keeps a lot of his
Absolutely.
love interest black.
Absolutely.
I like little shit like when he gets knocked around in the movie. He says little shit like when he falls, where it's like
Little
that's
quips.
something that that's
Yeah.
something a black person would say.
Yeah.
Like it's really like
This thing just knocked me up the stairs.
that, and that was my favorite scene because I verbally said out loud, "He just knocked this nigga up the stairs," and then he said, "Oh, this is the blackest film ever."
Absolutely.
Anything post that scene, they could have just it could have been them pooping throughout the whole movie. I'd be like, "This is great," because I said that, and then he did it.
And it's quality fight scenes. It's not like he's an actor or a comedian that's trying to do action. He's like, no, I actually do action stuff too, so I know how to do this seriously. Like the scenes with him and Snoop, I can tell who does action movies and who doesn't.
Snoop did, but see, that's where I.
Snoop just walked through with a gun and was just
But see,
like,
that's where I like Snoop because I just feel like Snoop goes in there and just like I'm not gonna do that, but I want to scene to let y'all know. Like I think he plays off his Snoopness well.
absolutely.
Like yeah, do a spinning back kick because y'all know I'm not gonna do a spinning back kick, but do it anyways because it's funny and I'm Snoop. I think that's good, and I think that I'm a big fan. Like clearly, I'm a big advocate for y'all doing like just different stuff. So I just feel like Jamie walked in there and was like, or whoever gave them the script, whoever script was, whoever's idea was, Jamie was like, yeah, let's do something completely different. Like even a vampire film where we like do the whole thing in the daytime because all vampire films like super scary
Right.
and we're at night. And it's like nah,
Daywalker.
all that shit. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm here for all types of
I even
niggas
like that
doing.
it's a different location because
Yeah,
it's all in the valley, which we
yep.
don't really highlight anything in the valley. Like we can see spurts of it in movies, but they'll say it somewhere in LA. This was like, no, this is San Fernando Valley, and I'm literally watching stuff on screen that's down the street from my house or
Mhm.
around the. I was like, oh, that's my street. I'm wondering what they filming, and now I know what they were filming. But you don't see too many of these things represented when it comes to LA. LA always has to have the stereotypical LA areas.
Mhm.
This movie was like, nope, everything is completely different. We are all in the valley. We mentioned Simi Valley and Northridge and all these areas that we don't typically hear about. So keeping it as authentic as possible. I appreciated that. So shout out to Jamie for always being authentic in whatever he creates, even if it's going to be corny, funny, whatever the case is. He's going to make sure that he has sprinkles of blackness and authenticity in everything that he does. I think we kind of do the same sometimes. We try to keep aspects of
I'm
blackness and whatnot.
I'm here for the do something else in this man. Because again, between that and I saw like just the repost like the workout regimen for the Woman King. I'm like almost like I'm like really yeah. It's like it's getting kind of ridiculous how much I want this movie to be like fire. Like I'm very prepared. I'm just like I just want to see them kick the shit out of people. If the movie had no lines and it was just Viola and all of them just dog walking white folks the whole
I
film,
take it.
I would watch that. It could be 3 hours just of an entire action sequence, and I would pay hard earned cash. I would buy IMAX tickets, the unnecessary ones, so I can and I would go sit in the seats like this that extend, and I'd pay for food and drinks that are
Absolutely.
overpriced.
And they're actresses. So don't come to me and tell me you don't like working out. You want to be a model and an actress. She's an actress and she's putting in hella
Oh yeah,
work.
and they're like the actors that go on stage and shit. No
Right.
disrespect to people who I guess aren't stage
No,
actors, but
no,
like,
true thespians that may do, but even like I've had a client that worked in theater, but they work just as hard trying to keep themselves in shape because it's hot as fuck being on stage. My cousin, she does musicals and things of that nature. She sings, and I think she did Legally Blonde or something, like
mm,
Legally Blonde the musical or something. She was in that recently,
what is
but
that like?
I have no idea. I have no idea. I just know she sings very well, and I support her regardless of what she's doing.
Yeah,
I'm not really a Legally Blonde fan at all, but that's
Legally
her.
Blonde
That's
the
her groove, and
musical.
they helping her
Wow,
build her repertoire. So I don't care.
yeah, go for it.
Build her resume all day long. So, um, but yeah, I get in there and do the work. Like people that they're Keanu Reeves and people like Viola that are actually going to sit there and learn how to do this on their own. Holly Berry learned how to do like I'm training, I'm actually fighting, I'm learning how to do this as authentic as possible. I don't really want to stunt double. Like I'm really trying to get to it. So especially for this movie that is representative of the women that we have a connection to that are part of our lineage to see them putting in hard work and also be strong. I don't want to hear you tell me that you don't like you understand this is a part, this is an aspect of you.
Yeah, I'm just so diehard to see a film that is just not us, licking and lapping behind some. Like I want asses kicked, start to finish.
Absolutely.
Because I'm not gonna lie, like I know I've said this before, and there's been, whatever the issues y'all had on the internet, but like Django is just at the top of like everybody who deserved it got it. They got it in epic fashion. There, I watched this film, and I might go back and watch it again to make sure that I'm like correct. But I counted nobody. Nobody that deserved it walked away. Nobody got off. Nobody. The even little Quentin Tarantino's part. They were in the film for 5 minutes and they blew them up. Like there is no fit. Like there's no other film. There's no like white savior person. Oh wait, take that back. The white savior dude got it just because the film needed it. Like, look, man, you're great. Gotta go. Like
You're not supposed to make it all the way through, sir. Just
that.
let you know.
Yeah, yo. I just need, and then for this one to be like based on like true real events. That's all I want, and I want y'all to like.
They just better not. They better not Pocahontas her and have her fall in love with some random white man. I'm going to be highly upset.
I feel like I saw half a scene like that. Maybe not her, but somebody. And
I caught a glimpse of something, and I don't know what it was, but I just hope it ain't what I thought it was, and I hope it's something completely different. I'm still gonna see it, I'm still gonna love it and support it.
yeah, I
But
just I just would like it to start a trend. Like I think like that, and even the Jamie Foxx films and the Nopes and the Get Outs. I just want y'all to do anything else. I'm supportive of literally anything else. I don't even know if I hate the other types of films as much as I do. I just want something different. Like just give me anything different. What do you guys
yeah,
like?
especially when we think of television, television should be next because we
Yeah.
have lots of
Like that's why I was
the
like,
same stuff.
yeah, that's why I was like cool on like the Sandman shit. Like I know that some of it was definitely them just making characters. Sandman came out in like the 80s or whatever,
Right.
and all the characters are white in the book. So I know part of it is like we're changing with the times. And you know what? I'm cool with it. Like a couple of the main characters, like they just made like whole families and lineages black, and I'm like, this is cool because I like niggas doing magic shit. Like I just don't need. I don't want everything to be the oppression Olympics. Like I just like I don't want no more trauma porn. Just just be cool, do some cool shit, and just tell a good story.
Now, as far as entertainment is concerned, we've talked a lot about doing something else. Outside of entertainment, do you see it the same way as far as we should be doing something else?
Yeah, I
Professions wise, interest wise, things of that nature.
yeah, and I don't even need people to start jumping out and being like, "Oh my god, this is an all black knitting company." Like, you could start small. Like I've started watching
Uh,
like I've started watching even sports wise, right? Like, basketball is our shit.
Mm-hmm.
Football came back on TV and I got caught up and I was like, I was out, yeah, I was out eating and looked up and I was like, oh,
Foosball.
crazy. But I even look at I was watching I was actually same place. I was out to eat, and ESPN was doing this ESPN thing, and they had the it was like the Hank Aaron Invitational,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just a bunch of black kids. It was like top to bottom black kids from like across the nation playing baseball, and I was like, I'm here for this. I was like, I would be cool. I'm like, not to say y'all got to stop playing whatever, but like I'm here for y'all going like, yeah, I was gonna take this, XYZ fucking scholarship for football, but I chose baseball. And he's been playing for 30 years. He's fat now. And I want them to get the whole baseball experience. Y'all don't all have to be like, outfielders. I want you to be a fat pitcher and just be up there chunky and knocking these shits like out into the next
I
county.
mean, they said Babe Ruth could do it, so why couldn't we do it?
Exactly.
It's some random dude from the Dominican in the league that's going to be doing it. He's your cousin. He just has slightly finer hair.
Yeah, I think about things like I think about how sometimes like watching that makes me think about like how that big chunk was a big thing for us and then it just died off because while I don't know, man. Michael Levowitz got to play baseball for years, and like we used to call him, your pop. They used to call him Big John. Nobody realized Big John really was like probably could have broke Babe Ruth's record 3 times over, but he had to go work at the mill to feed his family of 47.
Right.
Like, so
I mean, there's plenty of stories like that when it comes to people that were in the Negro leagues for sure.
yeah,
They outperformed all the MLB players on a regular basis. They were more of a draw, but they weren't getting the support or the money or the backing, of course, because of their born cultural connection.
yeah,
But
not even knocking Jackie Robinson, but some of the conversations you think to yourself like, there's a world where he's
he's
dope.
bottom tier.
But you know what I'm saying? Like he's not the guy. Like the
Yeah.
guy really,
He has
he
shit to
was
do.
he was Carl Meggett. He didn't have no shoes. Like he just was knocking baseballs.
Man ran a 4-2 and
Yeah,
flip
he was just
flops.
knocking baseballs with a plank of wood.
Right. But I also think like how we like things, but we don't look at certain things that may be in direct correlation to that. So it makes me think of like a lot of black dudes, especially in my group chat for my homeboys, they're like, yes, it's the best time of the year. Football's back on TV. And it's like, but I've talked about like watching rugby and y'all be like, it's similar. It's very similar. And you could actually respect rugby a little bit more.
I coincidentally, I was in the gym and they just have rugby leagues.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't called the dude. I haven't thought twice about it, but if I see him again, man, I at against my better judgment and my early 30-year-old body, he's like, I'm trying to get good guys to come join my league or pretty substantial league, this, that, and third. I was like, he had me enamored for 10 minutes, and I was like, if the game was today, I'd have gone. Like he gave me time to go back, sit down, and get sore, and I was like, I'm sore just on legs.
Hey, but that's just because you're not in season shape. That's all.
But I was like, man, all right. I was like,
It's doable.
you run across you again, boy. We're gonna just all be out there with no teeth because I'm throwing everything.
Hey, you can get you the helmet and the mouth guard. You be completely okay. Shout out to ESPN and Ocho for putting all these different types of sports on there that we can watch and realize that it's not just three sports to pay attention to.
But yeah, speaking of like correlation of things, like I think about that. Not that I think everybody needs to go out and just sacrifice themselves and be broke for whatever, but I think a lot of times we put our thoughts about sports. Big money is basketball, big money is football, big money is baseball, but we don't play it or whatever. And
soccer makes more than all of them.
Oh God. I'm telling y'all, like I remember telling my dad, this is a complete sidebar. I told my dad, I was like, look, son, pop out is baseball. I'm putting a soccer ball and I'm putting a joystick in that kid's hands, a controller, because esports are $1 billion and I don't have to worry about him blowing out his knee or whatever. But he was like, let him play. We don't want to play. I was like, you keep that shit. You keep it in the '80s, big dog. You and Lawrence Taylor can have it. If the boy chooses it, that's one thing. We're gonna be some foot juggling. But I was thinking about like when things like rugby and all these other sports that are like big across the world and we don't access them because I feel like we think they're not like cash cows and not realizing that like if we played them, they would become infinitely popular because we would be doing nonsense
Right.
out there. Like the sport would infinitely become, some of the biggest crap on the planet because it's like, yeah, we've come in like the Monstar showed up, nigga. Like when it showed up, and like now is the problem. And there's this book that I planned to read, but I was looking at the little Rich Roll podcast thing that popped up, and it was like the book is called I think The Long Road or The Long Path, and the
Mhm.
idea behind the book is like you plant things now for the generations after. So it's like, yeah, okay, like not to say if you're coming from a certain situation, get your money, but if you have the opportunity to maybe put your foot in this thing and make it popular, yeah, you might start out with a contract that's 1 million, but you make it popular, your kid or the kids from your neighborhood could play this sport and make 200 million.
Right.
So for
I mean,
those,
we're comfortable doing that when it comes to trends outside of professions in sports and entertainment. So why aren't we comfortable doing it in those same spaces? Like it can be trendy for your kid to be the cool kid at school that's known for cooking up good meals. He's like middle school chef. Like I come to school in the bow ties and whatever little outfit I got, but I'm serving up cookies and I'm slanging them. I have my own little business early. Like, why isn't it cool to let your kid get into something that we don't typically promote or talk about?
I'd like to assume that we might be the first group of parents whose kids do that.
Absolutely.
Like not to say it's bad for your son or your daughter, or whatever, to play a sport, but just realize I made the knitting joke earlier, but just realized my son like knows how to like really make his clothes, and he's 12.
Mm-hmm.
We gonna be some clothes making niggas, boy.
Absolutely.
Like
Why not?
I'll probably mess him up, but I'll. That's where like I'll throw it. Like let's go ahead and just get whatever the knitting requirement stuff is. Yeah, we gonna make this whole thing. I'll put my office in the garage. You go up there and do your stuff.
Yeah, it's going to help them at least with learning individuality, having true authentic expression for whatever it is that they like. It's going to nurture them in many ways that we stereotypically or consistently do not. So it's like, yeah, he can. I don't want my boy in here making no clothes. I want him to turn out to be one of them gays. And it's like, boy, he can design clothes and not be effeminate, but also, even if he is, it is what it is. But you can still nurture his talents and his interests without having to place some sort of negative judgment on what his behaviors are. But I think that's part of it. Like we are the bridge that's becoming more comfortable with a lot of different things, so we will be able to parent a little bit differently. It's 50, I think it's 60-40 with us, because some of us are still holding on to unhealthy old ideas, and some of us are starting to transition to a more inclusive, fluid way of parenting and thinking.
I think it's the reason behind it though too. Like and I think there is a bit of be inclusive and be fluid, just because some people are just like throwing them words around. But I think it's also like understanding like what do you do a thing for? You have your kid play sports because they enjoy playing sports.
Right.
Sports is also a space where you can get your first understandings of discipline, teamwork, life lessons. These are spaces where you build up yourself as like a person.
Mhm.
But it's like, man, if your kid has interest in, I'm sure there are lessons to be learned in fashion.
Absolutely.
Like if your kid's just into fashion, into this form of expression, it's like, okay, well then what I was going to teach you with, I don't know, man, MMA, I'm gonna learn you with shoemaking or
Okay.
whatever. And I can like, like fashion is not like a big part of our culture. I would find that weird for like us to say that it's like, and I don't know.
That's what I said.
I'm not
Direct
yet.
correlations. Like fashion is something we set the trends. We are when it comes to pop culture. Our people, Black Americans, have set the trend for fashion for probably the last 50 years. Probably even before that, but I wasn't around to really dictate it. But somewhere within 50 plus years, we've set the trend as far as pop culture and fashion is concerned. And then we look at our child that's into fashion, and because we don't want him to be a certain way or we don't want her to be a certain way, we're like, not okay with that. They're going to be interested in fashion anyway. When they get to high school, what is high school? A big ass fashion show.
I never and like the more you kind of think about things like that, it's like I don't want my kid to be how whatever type of way if that's the argument. And it's like, but you let your kid play like football. Coaches are racist. Like
Right.
the coaches are racist. Like
he played Euro. Make sure he plays football in Alabama, knowing damn well that his coach most likely hate niggas, but I'm looking for my meal ticket up out of here.
yeah, like your son been trying to like, if it was a couple years ago, like now it's a little more, I think, inclusive. But your son was wanting to be a quarterback forever, and they put him at receiver.
It's
So like, what?
a little bit more inclusive, but not safe because niggas is getting shot at Port Warner games.
All that.
What are you doing? But that even for that, some things like that make me question because being somebody that was a football player, I'm glad I didn't have as an extensive career as others. So I may not. I don't know what's gonna happen within the next 25 years to hold me to it. It might be some screws to start jumping loose up here. But for right now, I'm glad that I don't have the same risk that others may have had. But even that's something to keep in mind when you start raising children. Like, damn, I got to be careful of the timeline I have been doing this because it may be some risk. Now, granted, they have better equipment than we had. Their stuff is super duper safe today, but that still doesn't mean there won't be some risk.
Yeah.
So safety issues, concerns, and all of that is so much to pay attention to. But we should also really pay attention to how things correlate. What do you like, and how does it correlate or bridge to other different things? And just expand your palette a little bit more. But you can do it within the confines of your personal interests.
Well, I would have something powerful to say, but I'm looking at the timer. There's 30 seconds, so I'm just gonna like talk to you guys about nonsense before I say like my favorite line. If you don't know where that line comes from, I would advise that you go watch The Fifth Element, an amazing cinematic masterpiece.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they should have gave Chris Tucker an Oscar.
He should have. He should have gotten Cabandales.
There was a post about like Angela Bassett. Like, just
Yeah,
people should
I
have really
posted
got
that.
theirs. That was you? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Commercial.
Commercial.
There was a post about like Angela Bassett. Like, just people should have
I
really
posted
got
that.
theirs. That was you? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Commercial.
Hey, Jackie, what's wrong?
I'm over here running around trying to tell everybody about the podcast pit.
What's the podcast pit?
I'm glad you asked. The podcast pit is an event where you will find some of your favorite podcasts performing in front of a live audience.
Will there be food and drinks there?
Of course there will be. It's at Joxer Dailies in Culver City. They have a full bar and a full menu.
Hey, I may need to tell people about this as well.
Yes, come with me. Let's tell them. The podcast pit's coming.
The podcast pit is coming.
I know, but I'm saying.
What's up, friends? It's IE and Friends. We're here at the Podcast Pit LA. It was so fun. We came to rep the IE. I think we did a pretty good job. So shout out to the Podcast Pit for having us. Shout out to TGN. You guys should definitely check them out. You should check me out, Saul V. Gomez.
Y'all can find me at I Know Caesar on IG. You can find me at airbear_IE on IG.
And you guys can find the podcast at IE and Friends on every social media network except for OnlyFans. That's coming soon. So stay tuned. So follow us and follow TGN Podcast Pit. Have a good day, guys.
Are you trying to buy a home, car, or make other investments and being discriminated against because of your credit score? At credit909.com, our professionals can help you remove judgments, student loans, child support, medical bills, and other erroneous and negative items on your credit report. Call 800-752-9763 today for a free credit analysis and consultation, or text credit to 909-688-5461.
Hey there, business owners. Don't miss our limited time offer. Advertise on the Good News Radio as low as $2 per commercial slot. That's right. Promote your business up to 4 times a day, every day for a month on live radio. If you're interested, email us at contact@tgnradio.net. Once again, that's contact@tgnradio.net.
Hey, Shariq LeMay.
Hey, what up, J Pinkay?
You already know what it is. You pulling up with me on Thursdays?
Oh, you already know Thursdays is lit.
What we doing?
We live on Limelight Live on TGN Talk.
You already know 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern for our East Coast folks. And hey, Calvin, why don't you join us sometimes?
Gee, if you think I'm ready.
All right, Kelvin.
What a clown.
We'll see you then.
Hey, my name is Jasmine Sweets, and I'm so excited to be bringing you The Sweet Spot on TGN Vibes, Good Vibes, and R&B. Playing the old school, new school, and in between. I'm coming to you this summer. Stay tuned.
Are you single and ready to mingle? Well, you may not be, but now here's your chance to purchase an all-new 30-day journal, Single and Not Quite Ready to Mingle. A 30-day journal to make the most of your single season. It's by me, Chanel, co-host of Brunch with Besties show. You can purchase your journal right now on Amazon by typing in Single and Not Quite Ready to Mingle. Now is the time to do the work. I'm rooting for you. Go ahead and purchase your journal now. Single.
Forget which is which. guess we'll see. Check. Check. Okay, that's the other side. We have like mystery guests. So.
Mystery meat.
It's a voice on the side of the voice.
I mean, you can see your shadow.
Oh, that's creepy. Look at that.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Gwen Stacy. It only makes sense to us. They don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know.
As far as I could tell, man, like Mary Jane seems like at the bottom of the tier because it was Gwen Stacy. Then you get like Spider-Gwen, that's dope. Then you have the chick who was Black Cat, which I'm just here for, like, you know, right? Just put a little bit on there. And then there's
Top
MJ.
tier abs.
Yeah, and then there's just MJ who just be like around. Like, you know, what did MJ like? What did, you know, I critique a lot of Lois Lane, but you know,
And
Lois
she
was a
super emotional for no reason. You get mad at Peter over
jumped
all
off
this
a building. I just wanted you to prove it. I've been saving you for 10 years, dog. Like,
since high school.
And you just are out places for no reason. Lois is, at least it's Lois's job. She's a reporter. She's trying to, you know, she's got a Pulitzer.
Absolutely not.
But, you know, you just out here.
And you're a struggling actress.
Come on, man. You out here. I'm Spider-Man. You can't get a job.
I feel like that's the stereotypical analogy for like dudes that are doing something with themselves, but they chasing around Instagram type chicks.
Man. Because there's times like, you know, she knows he's Spider-Man. It's like, yo, cover for me, big dog. You know, Lois was covering for Clark.
She was trying. She was at least trying to hold her weight for what she could do.
And Clark has to save the world. He only has a city. It's a lot, man.
Yeah, no. I couldn't.
Gotta,
but Black Cat.
They got to bring some of these
Black Cat
superhero
like
relationships to the
Jade
table.
Cargill.
I believe that.
The black wrestler chick. Like she has the body type of somebody that would play Black Cat. I don't know about acting ability, but
I don't either.
She acts well enough in wrestling, so I'd assume it can translate over a little bit. But either way,
love yourself, superhero dudes. I just think you all deserve better. You know who really doesn't? You know who gets slept on for like making really good choices? Reed Richards. Reed don't have no problems.
Nope.
He's a genius. She's a genius. They got some ridiculous genius kids.
Correlations. When you understand how to really know yourself and make choices based on what you need, what you enjoy, what you like, and what you identify with, as opposed to what is popular, what is most acceptable, or what is going to be most notarized. That's a skill to actually know yourself and make decisions accordingly. Where would you say that we struggle with making decisions based in who we actually are?
Relationships. Like boom. Speaking of which, I don't have a good segue. I just saw like this article, and I'm going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it today.
I was trying to set it up for you.
I don't need it.
She's like, I'm
full. This is sledgehammer through a painting. So there was this article this week that I saw. Literally, I kid you not. I want to say I be in here lying. I be in here lying, acting like I get these stories from like the feed and the internet. It's y'all that I know personally, that I know watch. We're having a conversation every week because y'all got up here and I counted. It was I stopped counting at around 6. The rise of lonely single men via Psychology Today. Y'all all posted this article. I doubt anybody read it.
I have a question. I'll stop there just for a split second. Because I had people send this to me as well last week. But
that's another thing.
I saw it because I have an account on Psychology Today. I'm listed on Psychology Today. So it comes in the emails, things of that nature. But my thing is, y'all ain't therapists. How y'all see this? This supposed to be for us that are subscribed to the newsletter and our therapists. And maybe if you have a therapist and they're sending this to you in your newsletter. But I was like, how are y'all getting this stuff that we got access to? Because I pay to be listed on there. And for y'all to not see my profile and for me to see this, we're not supposed to be looking for a therapist as opposed to looking for.
I saw the blog pages, whichever one, because there was this one. There was the Black Therapist page posted it, which some of them were cool, giving kind of like a context in their like caption. But it was like the comments, and it was majority just like posted and having these like amazing. All right, man, you gotta get it together now.
When you say y'all, are you talking about the
Absolutely
people,
not.
or what are you talking about when you say y'all?
The y'all with the vaginas that was posted this, like y'all had like a fucking like men are. I ain't seen no niggas post this shit, dog. Ain't no nigga posted it. Like it ain't no nigga posted this shit. But I
thought about posting it to have a different perspective of some of the things that they shared in the article.
I did, but I just said I was gonna get my stuff off here.
Fair enough.
Yeah, because like I went and like, you know, read it, and like part of the things in the article are like
I mean, you can read. We got time. We can
dating apps.
So dating apps is the first highlighted category that they're asking. You want to read it to the people, or you gonna summarize it?
It's basically just saying that like, I'm gonna summarize it for y'all. It was basically saying that like dating apps and dating apps are a thing that kind of, I think, hinder the dating space. They make it so, you know, social interaction is weird. You know, a lot of swipe this, swipe there. You know, if you sitting up there, and I think some of the dating apps, like for, you know, if you're, that's why I always make jokes saying dating apps are like for sex, because like what you appeal to is like your physical. So you take a profile picture. I think I'm a good looking nigga, but like the idea that like I'm just gonna sit there and post with my like tight shirt on and do this, and I'm gonna get like mad likes. Ooh, let me take you out. That's not gonna happen. She posts looking good. I'm gonna double tap. I'm gonna offer blah blah blah. So for a dude, a dating app doesn't. It's like a rejection spree, because you want to go out, and it's gonna be like no, ew, no, ew. So of course, to me that looks like, yeah, nigga, like that's you feel lonely, you feel dumb, you feel unwanted, because that's not the space that's geared for you. That's not my skill set. As attractive as I think you are, what gets dudes and shit, what we make fun of like game, I have to have some type of personality. That's not conveyed on the dating app to me.
I think the dating app is, although I have utilized them for many years, not really for the aspect of dating, but because I've always worked multiple jobs in school and all this other stuff, so I didn't have the ability to get out and be as social. Not until like maybe the last the pandemic definitely helped with me being more social, but prior to that I was always working. So that was ways that I got to know people, but I would make it known like I'm not here trying to get nothing from y'all. I just want to have more social interaction and see where this goes. But I say that to more so preface, I think people utilize it the same way that they utilize Instagram, and that they put everything on there that's performative. The best, I'm going to choose the best pictures of myself. I'm going to choose the best prompt if it has prompts that have me show some kind of personality that I think people are going to be attracted to, or say something that's cool. But are you being 100% authentic and showing your good, bad, and ugly? No. So you're only really, we're attracted to or not attracted to in that split second to a surface level understanding of that person. It's the same as you walking by somebody that's attractive and they smile at you and you either go hi or nothing. That's about as deep as it gets, but we like to analyze it as if it's deeper than that. Your intention, which is my word of this segment when it comes to dating apps, is we filter out the intention of why we're utilizing these things, because either we're not going to share our true intention, or we're going to have a fake virtuous intention, or it's just not going to be able to measure what our intention is altogether.
That is my like gripe with all of this altogether, because even still saying on the dating app part, it's like upwards of 62% of users are men, and many women are overwhelmed with how many options they have. So to me, that still is speaking to, it's just this big melting pot of you going, oh, how you doing? Oh, how you doing? Like, so that's not to me like a good barometer for it putting the onus on loneliness in men is just men all together. Dating apps are not a healthy space in general. Right.
62% of men, but you're not saying if they're all straight men or cisgendered men or anything of that nature. You just look at the numbers and say, this is predominantly men and this is this amount of women. Well, are you taking into account men that are also on there looking for men as well? They're not looking for women?
I would even assume if the 62% is like dudes, there's still, you know, the options that are women. But if you know, I don't know, man, living in today's age, like you don't want to walk up and be a weirdo to somebody. So sometimes if this is the option, you know, we're in a social media age, but that's a generational problem. That's not just dudes are lonely because they're
I know. Say for me, that was originally years ago. I think I got I think I got into this on dating apps prior to going back to grad school. So maybe 26, 27. I was 26, 27 when I first got back onto them. But for me, it's because I was starting to recognize how I had some social anxiety. Like I've never felt
How
comfortable.
dare you as a man have social anxiety?
How dare I as a man have emotions and feelings and insecurities? Ugh.
Let's get to the next one.
How dare I be human? But I recognized and I was aware and able to admit, like I've never been the most comfortable approaching women because I've always looked at it as I fit the stereotype. I'm tall, dark, athlete, this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. I fit all the negative stereotypes that people attribute to negative black male behaviors. And I know for a fact when they see me, they're going to automatically make assumptions, and that doesn't make me comfortable enough to come in as somebody that's going to definitely not be the stereotype. It was never my thing to be the stereotype. I can be with the gangbangers or whatever the case was, but I was still me. So I know I'm going to enter this space where I'm automatically going to be judged. I have an issue with rejection and things of that nature. So it was easy for me to learn how to get more comfortable talking to women through the dating apps, just casually talking to have conversations. So I think I dated for like a year. And then at some point I was like, if I see a woman that looks attractive, I'm just going to say hi to her. And they don't recognize how much I had to fight with myself just to say, you look really nice today, and keep it pushing.
Oh no, I've had that conversation before about the social anxiety that goes into that. It's just you're supposed to go get these homes.
Right. That's just what we're supposed to be doing. Like, even I remember when we were kids, the stigma of you went to the Black College Expo to see how many numbers you can get and get up on some girls.
Sure.
And I was the only one there trying to actually get accepted by schools. Like, I would tell them in the car, like, we're going to see who get the most numbers. Like, it's not going to be me. I'm just letting y'all know that now. I'm not even about to put in no money in the pot and try because I look, but I'm trying to get in.
But I feel like that's also a catch-22 too, because if you are like, socially anxious, have social anxiety, a little scared, you get put as like, you're not, really good.
You're not aggressive. You're not assertive.
But
you're
if
not
I'm
manly.
too good at this, I'm a hoe.
Right.
So I'm just,
what's the thin line? But those are the things that we don't have an aspect of measuring when it comes to dating apps, because we're just looking at everybody's performative avatar.
And that to me gets into these two. The next two things that they talked about in this article were relationship standards and skills deficits. So relationship standards basically is discussing like, standards about relationships are not really set by us
at all.
It's, it's not surprising that women are increasingly selective. That's not a diss to women being selective, but if the standards of relationship are not really set by us, like some of that, Disney Channel shit that we'd be making fun of, if that's how, Mickey Mouse and them and you cut through a forest, you stab a dragon to kiss somebody who been sitting here asleep for 6 months and breath smell like all outside. Like I've never like all of these like ways to come get me, come unto me. So if you're a dude who thinks just a tad bit highly of himself, like you can say hi back. Like I said,
even before that, with Looney Tunes characters and Tom and Jerry, Tom going all out to impress a woman that ain't paying him no mind.
Tom Cat.
Right. All the characters and the stigmas have always been you chase this woman, you beckon to her needs, to her calls, and all this other stuff in order to get her. It's never set by us. But the standard, or I say today's society, will tell us that these standards were created by men. No, they may have been created in white America by white men. When we talk about patriarchy was never meant to benefit black men or black women. We didn't create anything within that. We were excluded. We weren't even looked at as people.
They prefer men who are emotionally available, good communicators, and share similar values.
And you don't even know whether or not he has those qualities because you come in with an expectation, one, and then you're coming in navigating the space based on your wants and needs, as opposed to him being able to share his as well. He's supposed to apply pressure. That's what the saying says, at least in our community. You're supposed to apply pressure. Apply pressure doesn't mean you dictate any of this. It means you're supposed to do whatever it is that I feel like I would want to select you for.
Skills deficits. For men, this means a relationship skills gap that, if not addressed, will likely lead to fewer dating opportunities, less patience for more communication skills, and longer periods of being single. The problem for men is that emotional connection is the lifeblood of healthy long-term love. Emotional connection requires all the skills that families are not consistently teaching their young boys. Now, for that to me, I find that I don't know if I want to say like horse shit, but like it's horse shitty to me because to me like that ties into the top part where it was like good communication, and it's like what does that look like? Because a lot of times when I feel like these things are described, good communication is me being able to endure you talking a lot, but that doesn't mean that you're a good communicator.
Right.
We discussed that listening is just as good, just as important, if not more important than talking. Body language, if you can Google that. That's not even like a psych fact. Body language is 90% of fucking communication.
Absolutely.
So are you a good communicator, or are you good at just talking to me with a lot of words to tell me what you want? That's manipulation.
Are you good at taking up all the attention in the space?
Yeah, so that is where like some of this I felt like was irresponsible of certain people, especially people in the space that were posting this a lot. Like, this was like a really hard hitting article because then like it sets the standard that the other side is absolutely 100% knowing of what they're doing. It's like, well, I'm at a losing battle if I'm fighting and the goalpost is changed every other day.
Right.
Or if I'm showing up with cleats and they tell me the game today is basketball. What you talking about? The game is football. That's how the game is Quidditch.
But I think that's the space in general, and we don't address it enough. Like everything's going to be the microscope is going to be weighed heavily when it comes to the men, especially black men. I can't speak for white men because they get away with a lot more stuff than we do. But when it comes to black men, the microscope is on us very, very heavily. You are burning us with this because you are zeroed in so hard. But we don't look at the other side of it. So I had a conversation with someone else that's in the space earlier today, and they were talking about dating and things of that nature. And it's like, stereotypically, men don't have the ability to do this, and this. Men don't typically recognize this. And I was like, you're wrong. Men recognize all this stuff. When we talk amongst each other about it, we just don't tell you because you're not safe enough for us to tell you. That's one. Two, we also understand the stereotype is, the stereotype image of us as men is that we're too stupid. We're Neanderthals. We don't pay attention to this. We don't pay attention to that. We already know that we're coming into a space where we are looked at as less than. So sometimes it's easier to choose silence over violence. Because if I speak my mind, you're going to be combative with me. You're going to try to tell me how I'm wrong, even though this is my opinion. So rather than sit up here and argue with you, I'd rather just be quiet and let this be as peaceful as possible and be a little bit, passive with some things that I shouldn't be, because that's easier. That's not a healthy choice, but I bring that up to say a lot of men learn that from where? Where did they say that we're not teaching these habits in the family dynamic? At home. In our community, what does its stereotypical family look like? It's a single mother. So we're learning these behaviors from a woman. They're getting reinforced from a woman from our foundational standpoints. And then we get older and take it into the dating world, and we respond to women the same way that we responded to our mothers.
I know I said that before on the episode, but I know like even if it's like a 2-parent household or whatever, but like sometimes with how sometimes like you see men treated or whatever in relationships, or how you're saying like the mother will put these standards on the son. I don't like do you would you want how you've treated men? Would you want your son to be treated that way?
No.
Absolutely.
Explain.
I'm only going to say that because I want to interject about the passive aggressiveness. Even in one parent or 2-parent home, I don't feel like passive aggressiveness is the answer or how things are communicated inside the home. So for you to say, or for the assumption to be that men are learning passive aggressive activities from their mothers, when women are not even seen as passive aggressive. They're aggressive women. I like to say assertive. So if anything, our men will be learning assertiveness from their mothers and not necessarily.
I bring that up because you think of the role between a mother and a child. The mother can be aggressive, but I'm the mama, you the child. Do as I say. Right? So he's learning to, when she bucks up, let me shut down because there's going to be a consequence for me if I decide to speak my mind or do anything else further. So when you get into a relationship, when you get older with certain women and she has that same reaction or same behaviors that your mom has, you're going to respond in the same way that the kid version of you did, stereotypically. Of course, there's context. Of course, there's outliers. Of course, this can be different. But sticking with that analogy, your mom responds to you, hey, sit your ass down.
I feel like you learn in a 2-parent household too, though.
You can do that in a 2-parent household too.
I feel like you might learn that more in a 2-parent because when you look at, and I know some shit, I know it's jokes and jokes are funny, but like between jokes and skits and TV and whatever, we better do this for your mama act. All right, your mama, your wife will put you on the couch.
Right.
The standard is she blows your top, you buckle so that you can appease.
Right.
It's very
The
rare.
happy wife, happy life. If dad is acting in happy wife, happy life, he's going to teach his son to respond to his partners later on in happy wife, happy life as well.
What's that show?
But the good thing is we have moved from that happy life, happy wife to happy spouse, happy house. So
Incrementally, we trying.
We're getting there.
We trying. We've moved a couple notches.
The conversation is out there.
We've moved. We got like 0.5, maybe at the most 2.0, but we ain't like. It's not vast. Unfortunately, I would like it to be that, but it's not
like
all the way there.
I don't know if we there. We just.
But that's on us too.
I'll be whooped. Yeah, I'll be.
That's on us. We have to take accountability for how we enter these spaces, because. So like we've seen things where women say like men are not emotionally intelligent or things of that nature. I think men are emotionally intelligent. They're just not emotionally expressive for whatever reason.
But I even say that like I'm expressive, but like but I think that correlates with some of that conversation of like niggas want to be with the homies, they be gay, because
right.
But it's like I'm expressive with dog, and at most, obviously, in the worst case scenario, y'all might get to scrapping and then it's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But you can get expressive and it's not a problem. You can express, you can talk, your point will be heard, your side will be heard. You express to a certain degree. You either got it. It's a lot of my point's going to get manipulated. It's going to get flipped to now the issues about this person is going through. Yeah. If I express to you that I'm going through this, that, and the third, I can, and I guess this is a bit of even a toxic masculinity. I can pull the card of like, you being a hoe and put it on you. If I'm saying that I'm hurt for something you did, you're kind of a hoe ass nigga. If you go, well, what about me? You as a man, you supposed to stand on your principles and what you did to go, man, I'm apologize for this, and this happening. If not, you're wrong for not. If you do that and with your partner, there's a degree where she can go, well, you hurt me and this, that, and the third, and now the onus is on her. Because if you stand on what she did too long, now you're like bullying her, you're abusing her, you're not being sensitive. And it's like, so I'm not going to express, because when I do, you can express as long. I feel like that's one thing where I'm very critical of when people say, when women say a lot of the like, I want to express things. It's like, you want me to express for what benefits you.
Yeah.
You don't really care
you want me
about
to express in your language on your turn. It's like being in college. You want me to write this paper, but you want me to write this paper based on what you are telling me in class, not based on my own critical thinking and research.
It's not like it's not a caring about me and my feelings. It's a caring about me and my feelings and how they relate to boosting however you feel. Which I think is similar to the post I put up yesterday, as far as like how people can be manipulated in a certain way, and they make it seem as if I'm gonna keep poking you till you respond a certain way, and then I can say, see, that's why this reactive abuse. Yes. I think it makes it easier for that to happen because we respond a certain way that is unhealthy and they are responding a certain way that's unhealthy. And neither one of us are learning how to step outside of our comfort zones until later on. So it creates a lot of manipulative, reactive situations within relationship dynamics. And when we finally start to figure out that that's unhealthy, that's when we start to have healthy relationships. It's not a man or woman thing. Mm-hmm. It's that we are triggering each other's faults up into a certain point, and then individually we'll decide, you know what, this isn't working for me anymore and I have to do something different. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that women are smarter than men or women are more express. Like, no, we both have our faults in this area. It's just that you get to think that your faults are perfect, and I am conditioned to believe that my faults are way worse than they really are. Yeah, see, that's my thing about expressing the other side of the coin. Like, where it's like, okay, we got 5 minutes, cool. Do we? 2 minutes. Haha. Cool. So like, expressing, like, men aren't expressive, right? Mm-hmm. As opposed to like understanding what expression looks like. Everybody is not the same. Everybody is not. So I think like sometimes the standards for what expression look like is like, are you looking for emotional expression? Are you looking for your ego stroked? Are you looking for, and at least acknowledging what it is, I think you can move through the space. But sometimes I just want you to say whatever. Sometimes, like, and dudes feel like sometimes I just want you to say good job so I can feel good. So on the flip side, I'm not expressive because maybe I'm not an expressive person, or maybe you don't understand what expression looks like. But some of that stuff is not, I want you to be expressive emotionally. Some of that is like, you want your ego stroked, and at least acknowledge that that's what you want, so you can. But you have to be self-aware enough to even address that and say that's what you want. And then my thing is, if you're not, then what we talking about? Don't be telling me about me you don't know about you. Right. I think what
like a thought that I had on my way over here, because I knew we were going to have this discussion. It's like when we talk about species, every species has characteristic traits, right? A lion is going to be a lion. A lioness may be a little bit different than a lion, but they're still lions. Elephants, still elephants. This, still this. That, still that, regardless of sex and things of that nature. But when it comes to human beings, we act like women and men are vastly different, or as if we are not both human beings. We are the same. So you can't say men are not expressive. We are humans just like you. Humans are expressive creatures. So if you are a human being and you are not expressing, then what are the parameters around you being someone that is not expressive? Either you've been through something, you're in the middle of something, or you're going through something. Which one is it? And you may be the contributing factor to that something, but you don't want to look at your contribution. So you just say, you are not this thing that you are born. You are not human. You are not expressive. You are not this. You are not that, which is physically impossible because we all have the same abilities. Minus, one's going to be an entry and one's going to be a reception. But other than that, same stuff.
Entry and a reception.
Because, visuals for the people, just in case they can't understand that,
Things is staying in the things.
Yeah, all of that. And creation and all of that.
And God said.
And God said. Go ahead, say the word.
God was expressive too.
Which one?
All of them.
Okay.
Commercial.
Commercial.
All of them.
Okay.
Commercial.
Yo, what's up? This is Rix. Yo, this is Rennie.
Oh, we're in the building.
Let's go, family. This is Jesse, and this is
Brown Wealth Radio. And make sure to catch us on TGN Latinx every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific, to be specific.
Sundays just got sweeter. The Hub Radio presents First Sundays Open Mic, hosted by Hub City Dre, DJ Gamma Ray, and the First Sundays Band. They're inviting all singers, rappers, comedians, and poets to show up and show out. Signups begin at 6 p.m. Sundays Open Mic will take place every first Sunday of the month. It's just $10 before 8 p.m. and $20 after, so arrive early. The address is 1135 East Compton Boulevard. That's 1135 East Compton Boulevard in Compton, California. For more information, follow them on IG at First Sundays Open Mic.
Manuel Jones, also known as Zach, the original Black Ranger. Hey, and make sure you're checking out TGN Radio. Hey.
Peace, family, brother Reza. I'm here. You already know I'm checking in with TGN Radio, Black owned. So you already know that's where I'm at. Tap in.
Hey, Jackie, what's wrong?
I'm over here running around trying to tell everybody about the Podcast Pit.
What's the Podcast Pit?
I'm glad you asked. The Podcast Pit is an event where you will find some of your favorite podcasts performing in front of a live audience.
Will there be food and drinks there?
Of course there will be. It's at Joxer Dailies in Culver City. They have a full bar and a full menu.
Hey, I might need to tell people about this as well.
Yes, come with me. Let's tell them. The Podcast Pit is coming. The Podcast
Pit is coming. Hey, what's up, business owners? Are you looking to take your business a step forward? Are you looking for more people to know what you have to offer? You are in luck. The Good News Radio has a special deal for you right now. You can get a commercial slot 4 times a day, every day for a month. If you are interested, email contact@tgnradio.net for more information.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Alex Himes from Courtside Radio. We'd love to have you tune in every Monday and Thursday at 6:30 p.m. right here on the Good News Radio Network. Don't forget to tune in every week, people. We'll see you then.
Only on TGN Sports.
Are you happy with your life, money, career, or relationships? Most people are frustrated with how life is evolving around them. What if you could change one thing to turn your life into a different direction? Would you want the insight? How could you transform your life with intuitive awareness? Learn more. Get answers today. Book a free discovery session with Coach Zena, intuitive transformational practitioner. Go to www.coachzena.com or follow on Instagram, coach.askzena.
What up? It's Jay Pinkay from Limelight Live. Make sure you catch us every Thursday at 7
If it's an emotion that's not causing danger to yourself or another, you should be free to express it. So for men, even sometimes it's hard to even find out when you guys are happy because you won't always even show happiness, which is an emotion that you should just be able to show on any given day.
You should.
Joy or
You say
anything
should.
like that.
Should is based on your expectation, but for the context of that man or their environment or their culture where they've come from, what's the reason why they can't do this thing as you feel that they should? What have they been through? What environments have reinforced to them that that's not okay?
That you shouldn't be able to express happiness. Like
What
no
does
man
happiness
should
look
be.
like?
Exactly. It looks different.
What does happiness look like?
Like I'll be honest. Now, granted, I can always share about clients, but I don't tell who they are. But I have a male client who would tell me, like, we processed the relationship between him and his mother, right? For him, happy, I got a 98 on this test. I did great, and I'm giving literal examples. I got a 98 on this test, and every Friday, I am able to go outside. I get my weekend privileges. If I've done what I'm supposed to do, I can go outside. I got a 98 on my test. My mom gets mad at me because it's not 100. So she takes away my weekend privileges. So I can't go outside. And now I'm sitting inside watching my friends play because I can't go because I didn't get 100. I got a 98 instead. Or I got an 89 instead of a 90. It's always, it should have been better. So I'm happy that I'm achieving these things. And she's saying, nope, not good enough. If that happens long enough, what happens to you expressing happiness? You learn not to. Why? Because it's never been validated. You've never been affirmed for your accomplishments. You've never been allowed to feel happy. So what happens? You start suppressing it, or you start feeling like it doesn't matter. It's not important.
I would even do something different. Like if you like, you know, we make the joke, you're a geek, so this is not really fair.
No.
But if I'm super into Spider-Man, I wear a Spider-Man shirt every day, or you know, I'm going to the Spider-Man, you know, Comic-Con thing, whatever, and I'm happy. Like I'm genuinely happy. I'm with my people. I'm with, this is an environment. This story spoke to me when I was a kid. And you with somebody and they're cool, they're nice enough, but every time they're not really into the space. Why are you always wearing that shirt? Why are you always wearing that spot? Aren't you? So now my happiness is getting poked and prodded. So I'm gonna learn to maybe reserve this. Right. That wasn't necessarily like a malicious thing this person said, but because they're so expressive, they don't check their tone, they don't check where they're coming from. So their emotional expression has now dumped on mine. I was being expressive. And me expressing doesn't necessarily have to always be verbal.
Right.
I'm open with you. I'm
their expression,
body language and everything.
Yeah.
And I understand that. But using that example, that means your emotional intelligence is not there. Because even emotions have a filter, regardless of the fact. So even if I see that you're enjoying it and I might not have been, that wasn't the time or place to state it.
Right.
Then.
But that's kind of our point. How we don't look at the other side of the coin of how women are not emotionally intelligent.
They're emotionally expressive.
Expressive and intelligence are not the same thing. So we lean and we coddle women sometimes when it comes to being emotionally expressive, to where we don't hold them accountable for not being emotionally intelligent. And then we confuse men not being emotionally expressive with them not being emotionally intelligent. We switch it up sometimes, and we don't really pay attention to the other side of why this person is the way they is. We need to look at both because they're not the same thing.
I think there's a lot of environments where niggas are like emotionally intelligent. Like I know, like we make fun of and critique on, say, like, I don't know, I always like to use like gang culture because from how they react,
some of the most emotionally immature, sensitive ass niggas in the world, but yet we brandish it as if that's how we're supposed to be as black men. They are emotionally unstable and overly sensitive.
I could give them the flip. There are some of them that might be amazingly intelligent because you need to understand the vibe of the room. Yes. I don't know reading, I don't know writing, I don't know arithmetic, but I know dog body language.
I know how to
I'm intelligent.
shit.
I'm emotionally intelligent as shit.
Right.
We have to get out of here.
But as far as expressiveness is concerned, they are.
Now, on the flip side, to use maybe the same demographic, I don't give a fuck who in this bitch. It's 3 of y'all. It's 12 of them, and they got their niggas with them. Why would you nut up in here with me?
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Right.
I don't give a fuck about a bit, but you should, because we're going to die in here.
And even the reality of that is sometimes you actually do care, but you care more about being prideful and upholding this fake image that you're going to say the opposite of what you truly feel. You are afraid, which is why you're responding in this way, hoping that you can put up a defense mechanism of like, yeah, oh, that motherfucker crazy, leave them alone. No, they're afraid and they're hoping that you say that so that you leave them alone. But you're going to have somebody that's going to pull your card, and then what? Now you have to express this thing of which you do not really feel because you did not know how to express your true feelings from the jump. Nobody's going to announce, it's 3 of us and 12 of y'all. I'm scared as shit, but I get down because I have to protect myself. Nobody's going to say that. You're just going to be like, hey, I'll lay all you niggas down, which is the worst thing that you could possibly say. But that's the only thing you know how to say. Why? Because I can't look like a bitch.
And that's some things
I'm
where
a bitch.
and even
But
that,
you have the luxury of being able to say that.
hey y'all, I'm a whole hoe out here, just so you know.
I'm a punk.
Yeah, I don't want none of that.
I don't want no smoke.
But I even think like what we said before, like what does happiness look like? I think sometimes what expression is supposed to look like. Like I'm not saying you don't whatever, take your partner out, take them out to eat, give them, but some of that reads to me like I just want to be able to take pictures, take this, because some of my happiest moments and some of the people I love the best, there wasn't a lot of words expressed. We're sitting down. I've had moments sitting with my grandfather on the porch. I'm happy as shit. There's no words expressed. You could hear the wind blow. Like there's nothing happening, but this is a happy moment. But if I'd have been a dick if I'd have been like, man, this really wasn't a fun moment if he wasn't throwing the football, yelling while barbecuing. No, this was a happy moment right here. So I think sometimes like just to take into account what that looks like. Nobody's telling women to settle for less. Is hey bro, take time to examine where did this thought come from? Because that is not all stemming from I want love and affection. Some of that is I want my ego to ego it.
So with that, I like that example of the grandfather thing, right? So as a girl, as a woman, you might have had that grand moment and it was the best moment of your life, right? And then you're gonna come home and I'm gonna be like, how was your day? And you're gonna be like, it was good. Instead of, you know what? I had this great day with my grandfather. We sat and did nothing while the wind blew. That makes us like, why did he do that? Why didn't
I can express that. I can explain. So in general, if dog does that, then he's, not expressive. He should definitely work on that. He should, there's one thing for being just not expressive and not being able to use your words. But there's another thing of if that dude, gotta bounce around analogies. If that dude, Spider-Man dude, right? And he's had moments where he expressed what Peter Parker's story meant to him. And you were like, so what we finna eat? Then when I come home, I'm going to tell you I had a good day. Because there's been moments where like I was really expressing to you and you cut it off.
Right.
So I don't know if this moment that you really want to listen to me, or are you serving your we're at home fantasy and he comes home and he tell me his day. So that's not for me. That's for you to get on the phone and tell your homegirl we do traditional relationship stuff.
Or even if it's performative, you're asking me how my day was so I can say it's okay, which gives you the green light to vomit on me about how your day went.
Because that's what you really want to talk about.
Because that's what you really want to talk about you. You don't want to talk
But that
about
is the assumption.
That can sometimes be the assumption as well. But even sticking with that analogy, I had this great day with my grandfather. He was expressive with his grandfather. I'm sure they laughed and knee slaps and, and all that. Very expressive with one another. But then he comes home to you and doesn't express that same way. And that's why I said, why did he do that? You may not be aware of how you've reinforced to him that you are not a safe space. You are not as safe as you think you are, which ends up being the case in a lot of relationships, in my opinion. The women may think that they are a safer space than they really are, but they're not asking themselves the question of why does he respond to me that way? They look at it as what's wrong with him.
And I think like, and for me, I try not to necessarily make this just a jump on women moment. It's like in that moment, all these conversations are for men and women is like poking at the other side. If you are truly been there and truly been interested in him and he's not talking, then it's on him to figure out like, okay, man, why am I not being expressive? But if he's not being expressive to you, you can't make him expressive. What you can do is be like, okay, am I setting the stage for genuine openness and communication?
Right.
Has there been any moments where he was like trying to be expressive? He was talking, even if it's just like, fuck expressive. When was the last time he said a bunch of words to me? He said a bunch of words to me on Thursday. What was he talking about? He was talking about that old comic book shit that, oh, fuck. That comic book shit that means a lot to him. I messed up a moment where we could have connected. So I might have threw bro back to square one. He still fuck with you, but in this moment where our relationship may be jumping into a more intimate phase, Well, you have to start over, champ. You messed up and you threw him back to level 2. Doesn't mean, it ain't the end of the world, but you keep jumping on him by not being expressive as opposed to, and it's the same thing for dudes. Like, whatever your issue is with your partner, it's like, all right, man, like, you could jump on her a bit, but it's like, okay, let me think about the last time I wanted whatever the hell. What's the thing online? Like, we all want our dick sucked because we do.
Right.
But when the last time you set the stage, get your dick sucked, I guess. Like, if that's y'all want an example, tell that to your mans.
Right. But that sometimes can be the issue when it comes to articles like this one, because it's very one-sided. It doesn't dive into all the different. Now, granted, it's an article. It doesn't have the ability to dive into everything.
A journal does. Journal is written by actual.
I mean, this is on a mental health platform, so they should be able to dive into extra context. And this is not to critique them, because I don't know the person that wrote it and I don't know what their intention or expectation was, but I appreciate that information, but it's only 25% of the conversation. There's still other things that need to be discussed, because this is a generalization that's based in whatever. I have to keep content coming up just to make sure that people are getting something out of this. So I can throw some shit up that speaks to a valid point, but it's a valid point that's a snapshot. It's not the entire portrait. So sometimes that ends up being my gripe, and sometimes his gripe as well. Is like the 25% is what we blow up and say that's 100%. We zoom into that and say that's what is, and what that 25% is displaying is something that's derogatory towards us, especially as Black men, because most of the negative men talk that we have ain't geared towards white men or other men. It's geared towards us.
True.
So it makes us look way worse than we really are, because nobody's paying attention to our side of the story or the circumstances or themselves.
I would take even us out the equation for a second. It's the ones who, like, I see post this, right? Post this and is like just big passages about men need to do better, men. And 2 posts later, hour, 30 minutes, maybe a day, is about, I would love to be somebody's wife, this, that, third. And it's like, okay, are we not seeing the correlation between how one is feeding the other? If you look at me as like the worst piece of shit ever, but somehow you want to figure out how to make this work, and nowhere do you find these conflicting ideals. Like, you've been doing this shit for 6 months, baby. Like, you've been doing this for 6 months. You're 35. At some point, are we gonna have to change about the only adjustment is you and how you're looking at some of this shit.
The funny part about that is that they'll post these conflicting things on their stories and in their pages and assume that we're too stupid to put them pieces together and be like, red flag. That's why I'm keeping my distance.
100% gonna tell y'all, like, maybe not. I might not be speaking for everybody. I'm speaking for a few. Y'all know I'm trying to help you out without helping you out. She's cute. She's got a good job, but she crazy. Skip. You want, like, all of these, like I'm looking at these memes. The memes I post are funny, but some of those shits like hold truth. I like comic book shit. I like nasty stuff. I like philosophical posts. I like all of that stuff is indicative of me to a degree. So when I see a lot of this, like, oh my God, she's doing amazing, and then 2 posts down, it's like, you had the cool little independent post like a couple posts ago, but now it's like, I would just love to just make tuna sandwiches at the house, and never. I'm like, I don't live in that economy, so good luck for you and whoever likes
but
that.
Like, when it comes to social media and relationships, everybody has to step back, because no one relationship is similar to the next. So like the whole red flag thing, first of all, yes,
everybody has their own set of red flags.
And yeah, red flags, I don't feel like they necessarily exist. That whole like she's a 10 but A B C D E, yes, that's a swipe. But as far as like memes, memes and things like that, so like I can post like, oh yeah, because the romanticized fantasy of what it looks like to be a wife, right? That is like the icing on the cake, whatever. That is like, even to me, that means that you have reached best friendhood with your partner, because like you are on the same level to some extent with his boys, and you're one of the boys, and that is where the goal is. But no one ever talks about the journey that it takes to become one of the boys, and all that is, in there, the good, the bad, the ugly, the cries, all the things that it's going to take for you to become one of the boys. No one talks about that. And when we do, it's like, oh, he ain't shit. If I was a man, I would not be on social media at all.
This is the clip.
Because it's just like,
it's gonna be the clip.
It's one of those things that you feed into it. If so many people are constantly, I don't even like to joke around and tell guys that they ain't shit, because the world is always bashing them. So it's like, if you're constantly hearing that, rule of 13, you're going to start believing it. You're going to internalize it, and you're going to project, I ain't shit. So then you're going to put yourself in a situation where you're worth more than that, but you don't see yourself as that because the whole world has told you ain't shit. Your girlfriend, partner, whatever has told you ain't shit. So now you walking around feeling like you ain't shit when you really are some shit. Same thing for women. Women have to subscribe to A, B, C, D, not only from men, but from ourselves, from other women too. And so then you feel like, well, damn, I ain't shit because I don't subscribe to all of these things that people say I'm supposed to be. So it's like, we're all screwed. But if you take that step back, I'm sorry.
They saw my fingertips.
But if everyone just took a step back when it came to relationships, I think that they will be more happier because you're not allowing a meme to dictate your relationship.
Yes.
So it's just like
Just take a step back from relationships, as in don't be in them at all. Just be single and learn yourself first so you can stop projecting your insecurities and hurts on people
Don't do that.
on social media.
I like that. I like to take a step back, but I want us to get rid of these empty ass statements because like don't just take a step back and don't just like she's doing the healing.
No.
Spell it out. I want y'all to list off what does that look like.
You started doing yoga and got some waist beads.
That is
You're
what I'm
not
saying,
healing.
like,
There's still
because-
more stuff that you have to
Yeah.
do. Knock it off. You just fit into a different image box. That's all you did. I jumped out of one image and put it on another image. That's all you did. You're still the same person and you're not doing the real work.
Yeah,
And that's for men and women.
I feel like honestly like that's doing people a disservice because I feel like there are people who genuinely nobody always knows where to start.
No.
But healing has that feel like be talked about more than this generalized we're healing and we got to do the work. Say what it is. Say what the work look like. If you tell me I want to build my back and my biceps, I'm not going to tell you got to get in that gym and do the work. I'm going to give you specific exercises and I'm going to tell you a rep range. I'm going to tell you a weight range and I'm going to let you know you're going to be sore in the morning.
And I'm going to cry.
You're going to cry. And then when you get back in that gym, you're going to go back and do the same thing. It's going to hurt more because you're hurting from last time. That is what the healing looks like.
Right.
I
will say, even when it comes to the healing, not just saying what that is, but admit it's wrong. Because just a lot of people, kind of like what you mentioned earlier, and I can be a little unstable. I can be this, that, and the other, but I'm this. No, you're trying to justify this behavior by putting in other stuff. Say, I am these things and that is wrong and I'm working on that. So hold me accountable to this if you see me acting this way. That's what the real work is. I'm looking for the accountability. I'm looking for somebody to say, hey, you doing it again. Knock that shit off. You know what? I appreciate you letting me know that. I'm gonna sit here and lick my wounds for a second, and then I'm gonna come back and get my shit together.
Rafiki hit Simba in the head with a stick when he was acting up. Worked perfectly. The movie was fine after that.
We can't hit them
Hit
in
me.
the head with sticks.
Hit me with a stick. Maybe not in my head though.
We're not.
I think a whole face changed about saying hit me with a stick.
We not.
Shit.
We not.
Like-
That's the wrong context. You like getting hit with a stick in other realms. We're not talking about when it comes to learning a lesson and accountability.
Just what are we talking about?
Look here. You know the context behind that statement. But yes, some people do. Some people are like that where they do enjoy the accountability, even if it comes in other spaces, being able to be held accountable and reprimanded for bad behavior.
This is the best comment. I just realized you showed the best Spider-Man.
Yeah, and you're gonna have to show the people.
Somebody.
That's right. Now put the mask on first. Don't step in front of the camera till you put the mask on.
Oh yeah, you gotta go full.
You gotta go full. It's over there. It's over yonder. Go on over there. It's your time to shine, baby.
Geekdom will always win.
Yep, always.
Oh, this is a perfect one.
Absolutely.
If your healing is all comfy, it's not really doing too much
At all.
Though it is helpful to do something. I'm not giving you that. If it don't hurt, I'm not. It's you read a post, you laughed a little bit. Nah, man, it got to kick you in the balls. It doesn't have to beat you down, but it has to feel like
it doesn't have to demoralize you, but it does make it should be a signal for like, hey,
here we go, back to it. Look at that.
No, go ahead. I'm gonna leave.
Spider-Gwen for the fucking win. Look at the dedication. Look at that. Outstanding, guys. This is it.
Geek shit always wins, as you said.
I'm not gonna lie, man. It's like I don't know what the problem is. People be like, I want diverse stories and stuff like that. I'm like, yo, I watched the original Spider-Man the other day, like good old Sam Raimi-ness, and I was like, this is really like I really feel for Peter, man.
You watch all these
crap.
Jocelyn's Cabaret, which is the same as Love and Hip Hop, which is the same as these marriage shows, Celebrity, this, that, and yet. All these are the same show, and you watch those as if they are different and they are wonderful, but you won't watch some geek shit, which is exploring tons of different realms.
I'm not gonna
Geek
hold
shit is the best shit. Get you a cosplayer. Our costume game is real.
They're disgusting.
He's not wrong.
Well, most of them are disgusting. Some of them are not so
in a
much.
good way, though.
Yeah.
I was about to start Spy Family the other day, but I hadn't started it yet.
Do it.
I'm like, that's my next.
You said Spy Family?
Yeah.
Yeah, we watched that. That's a good one.
I heard. All right.
It's a good
But I was when I look at like what was it? What, make sure I'm saying it right. The Woman King.
Mhm.
Like I feel like that's really like it's not. It's obviously a real thing, but I'm like that's way more Spider-Man than it is.
I
think
it-
Jocelyn Swift the boss.
I'll change. I'll push back on that a little bit. I would think it's only Spider-Man-esque when it comes to the story because we haven't been taught how real that really is.
Mm-hmm.
We don't realize that is an aspect of our identity. We don't accept that as a norm, so we think that it is fantasy when in fact it's our true reality.
I realize
that's what I like about it is introducing like, no, this is your true reality. This is a true thing that you are capable of. A lot of y'all melanated women can be warrior queens, but you would rather be Jocelyn Hernandez.
I think that is a bit of it too for me because like I realize like I don't really watch. I'm not trying to shit on anybody's whatever, but I don't really watch a lot of stuff that I don't feel like I don't even need to be empowering. I just need to be like interesting. I needed to give me an idea. I needed to be like truly entertaining. And sometimes I feel like that blind shit is not always entertaining. It's just entertainment. I was like, nah, man, that shit is dulling.
You're enabling a unhealthy coping skill, basically.
And I feel like it's counteractive. Like I feel like it's hard for me, not to say nothing's impossible, but if you come to me and you're like super duper like Jocelyn's whatever the hell, and then you want to come tell me like, Woman Kingness, I'm like, these are contradictions. I was like, if you pull the type of essence of this Woman King thing, and then you pull Bad Girls Club, whatever, them not the same people. Those are
they
not
wouldn't
like,
even last.
I'm not even saying, and I'm not leaning on duality. Them is not the same. It's not.
Woman kings are not. They don't want no parts of no BBL, no none of that. They don't want no fake hair. They don't want they are not. They don't have the same thing. To take them or the actual embodiment of say the Dora Milaje. They are not these things that you are letting impede your space and flood your area with all types of energy. They are not that, and you don't gravitate towards that. So don't say that you are that in one space, but realize
I'm just
that you're
I'm
not
really
over
trying
here.
to prep myself for like the just hogwash post. Yes, oh my God, this is me.
And then the next post is you shaking the BBL with your wig
And
on.
I hold the same thing to niggas because y'all be up here posting complete fucking just
Screaming
goofball.
Wakanda will forever with your white woman in the picture. Both of y'all got dashikis on. Either that or both of y'all got your Hollister on. One of the two. I'm not sure. But either way. Wakanda forever. Yes, Wakanda.
Yeah, that make me sick a little bit. But like, I want like I be trying to like have like a nice approach. I want everybody to do well, but man, like I'm just settled in my like Mr. Clark, man. I might just call my like if it's not copyrighted, like Mr. Clark, like therapeutic services, like I would name that my like practice name. I just want everybody to know what they get in it for. I'll help you out, but jump, nigga. Cause like, what are y'all talking about? Like, cause Jesus Christ.
Smoke crack, don't you?
Yeah, don't you like?
We need a little bit of that in the space.
You like dog, don't you? You kissed her, didn't you? You went to the party, didn't you? That's what happened. Like you drove back over there after she threw your shit out, right? That's what you did, didn't you?
I've used that.
That's what you did.
I've used that in
Okay, so what you up here talking to me for? That's what happened.
Right.
All right, then let's.
I think for us in our community, we need and want that. Like I use that in consultations a lot. Like I'll tell people. Like I had one lady ask me, she was doing therapy with me, but in her consultation, she asked me like, so what is your style? And I was like, you want the stereotypical textbook answer or you want a real answer?
Boy.
And I was like, for the most part, sometimes I black dad it. And she was
That's
like,
my favorite
what does that
line.
mean? And I explained it and she's like, I need that. that's what I want. I was like, I know how to sprinkle all the pseudo terminologies, and I know how to do things based on certain modalities, but my presentation is going to be Black Dad Knit. And if that's what you want, cool, I have that for you. If that's not what you want, cool, I can assist you in finding where you need it at. It's not, I know how to do the thing. Clearly, that's why I have the letters next to my name, but my approach isn't for everybody. But I think for us, sometimes that's what we're looking for, and that's what we feel like we need, but we don't have enough people trying to actually do it. Ray's been giving you lots of love all day.
Oh,
I know you blind.
it.
Ray, she's blind, so
Hi,
she
Ray.
can't. She's been missing all the love that you've been giving her because she can't see 2 feet in front of her. But outside of that, she says thank you.
Thank you.
Stuff was incredibly well said. There were strong facts. We did the healing is coming on, but they're gonna run it again. I believe this was about the spider goodness.
Absolutely.
It definitely was.
At least it wasn't the YAS. Well, YAAAAAAS. No.
Nothing is wrong with disgusting in some circumstances.
Absolutely.
What you need is some circumstances for, bro. Just like,
No, some. I mean, you know, if
She has a
if
free
she
face.
dropped a piece of pizza on a gym floor and picked it up and licked it and ate it, that's
5 second rule.
disgusting. I ain't
that's
talking
not-
about 5 second rule. I'm talking about
That's-
like it fell there.
That's not disgusting. That's terrible. Disgusting in the proper context.
Monkey mouth, not monkey pox, but monkey mouth.
Oh shit.
Oh,
Espanolo. YOLO.
they got all these bilingual women out here.
I don't know, man. We got 20 seconds left for y'all on the app. Thanks for listening.
Yeah,
Yet another
you
Tuesday.
gotta promote the app and tell them where to listen and all that other stuff. You know how they're supposed to go.
Get the Good News app for the 1 billionth time. Listen to us on YouTube. Follow all the socials. Good News Radio. Just Up as Podcast. Reinventing all of it. Okay, bye. And
Let me
yeah, I
tell
get
y'all,
that.
I'm a little slow when it comes to technology and stuff. So like, I downloaded the app, right? Couldn't figure out how to use it, and was like,
YouTube it is.
Yep.
You know, I take all of it. So y'all on YouTube, y'all get the
Y'all get the extended
outro. It's gonna look all sexy. You get to get a nice little music on the out. There's a bye. Okay, bye now.
So we got company. Get on up and do the thing that you do.